Yes, good old TJ.
Konnichiwa. Back in another video. Okay, guys, we're doing another Taku, Taku De Kun video. Just based off of doing the last video I just did yesterday on his channel. This one it is called. Pull it up. This one is called Fate Lord: The Tale of Charlemagne. FateExtella Link. So, one of my subscribers wanted me to actually react to this video in particular after I did the recent video I just did on the channel, which is actually my most recent upload. If you guys want to go watch that, go ahead and go and look at the video section in my on the channel, and you guys see it's the first video. I mean, it's the most recent video I just did, or if not, you can check in the card section above over here. You're gonna see a card section. You're gonna have like the playlist for the Fate series, or if not that, you should wait to the end of the video, and then you should see my most recent video. Like at the end of the video, you should be able to click that, and then you should be able to go from there on one of the cards. Anyway, though, like I say, Taku De Kun. This is from his channel. Link will be in the right down below. First link, we lead to his channel, so you can go ahead and go and follow him and go and watch any of his other videos. Yeah, so I don't even know FateExtella Link. I don't even know what Fate series this is, or is this a movie or whatever? I don't know. But what I've heard is just get right into it. So
during the middle of the 6th century, King Pipin III and his brother rule over the Franks in a kingdom spanning modern-day France, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. Charlemagne is born in the year 742 under his mother, Bertrada of Laon, and his father Pipin III, along with a brother named Charlemagne.
so is he
Pipin
French?
dies in 768, passing on the kingdom to his 2 sons. In just 3 years later, Charlemagne also passes. Following the fall of the Roman Empire, Charlemagne becomes the king of the Franks, regarded as the greatest ruler in Europe. He sets out on a campaign to conquer pagan territories and spread to them the teachings of Christianity. His first step as king is defeating the Lombard kingdoms in northern Italy. Upon conquest, he declares himself king of the Lombards, choosing the Saxons in Germany as his next targets. Charlemagne wages war against them until achieving victory in the year 777. Considered a hero throughout the land, he's approached by Spanish Arabs, pleading for his help in overthrowing their Muslim ruler in Cordoba. He attempts this, but ultimately fails to conquer the Muslims, retreating back to France. Along the way, however, his forces are ambushed by the Basques, a group living about the mountains. While this serves as a setback, Charlemagne's kingdom continues to expand.
I like the way his
Beyond
character
military exploits, Charlemagne recruits famed intellectuals to his court, and commissions a vast library and academy to have his knights train. As a devout Christian, he establishes a justice system whereby nobles and clergymen visit the kingdom's villages, holding hearings and upholding the law. It is a time of great religious and legal reform, known as the Carolinian Renaissance. Despite Charlemagne's prior victory, the Saxons form another uprising in the 780s, inciting bloody warfare that isn't resolved until the year 804. This time, he assimilates the Saxons into his growing empire. In order to reinforce his rule, he develops a close bond with Pope Leo III, and on a visit to Rome during Christmas, the Pope hails him as the Emperor of the Romans. His appointment draws the ire of the Empress of the Byzantine Empire, who feels she is more deserving of the position. In the year 812, however, Byzantine's newly appointed ruler acknowledges and accepts the Pope's decision. With this recognition, Charlemagne is gifted the title of Holy Roman Emperor. Throughout his life, Charlemagne has multiple wives, fathering 18 children. When not campaigning in the military, he is devoted to his children, loving his daughters to the point of forbidding them from marriage until his dying day. His good health lasts until his final years, when he begins succumbing to fevers. He ignores the advice of his doctors, insisting on living his life to the fullest. To pass on the throne, he crowns his son, Louis the Pio, co-emperor. In the year 814, Charlemagne passes on, leaving everything to his successor. The empire does not prosper for long under Louis, but in his wake, however, Charlemagne is credited for uniting Europe under a single kingdom while spreading his love of Christianity. He is known for his military prowess and educational reform. Beyond his achievements, he gains fame through numerous legends portraying his morality and military talents. These tales, compiled into the Chanson de Geste, embellish his fame beyond historical fact. Over 80 epic poems cover Charlemagne's military campaign against his Muslim enemies, his heroism on the battlefield, as well as his romantic pursuits. Within these tales are accounts of Charlemagne's 12 paladins, his elite retainers, handpicked for their most excellent talents. Among them are such famed heroes as Roland, Bradamante, Rinaldo, and Oliver. The weakest, yet most handsome
They're like
of the
that same
paladins
person from
is Astolfo,
Rider Black
known
from
to always be a source of surprise and laughter for his king. Above all else, they are loyal, each with their own tall tales and legends. For example, Merlin, after his contributions to Artoria Pendragon, assists the paladins for a time, much like he did the Knights of the Round Table. Charlemagne's most famous tale is the Song of Roland, which starts off chronicling how Saint James the Greater speaks to Charlemagne in a dream, being the first to pit him against the Muslims in Spain. To free Spain, Charlemagne's army attacks Pamplona in a 2-month effort to breach the city. Met with failure, he prays for God's aid and is graced with a miracle when Pamplona's walls collapse. Victorious, he executes those who refuse to convert to Christianity.
Execution?
Charlemagne's army arrives in the final city in Spain, Saragossa. Its occupied king, Marcia, fears an oncoming assault and attempts to make a deal of peace with Charlemagne. He offers treasure, as well as his own conversion to Christianity, under the condition that Charlemagne returns home. These conditions are accepted, but Charlemagne must send a messenger back to Marcia to deliver the good news. One of his most loyal and brave knights, Roland, volunteers his stepfather, Ganelon, for the task. To this, rather than honor, Ganelon feels rage. He is convinced the nomination is merely Roland's ploy to have him murdered by pagans. But rather, it is Ganelon who harbors envy toward Roland. Forgetting his loyalty to Charlemagne, Ganelon betrays his king for a chance at killing his stepson. Under the pretense of acting as a messenger for the Saracens, he secretly leaks Charlemagne's escape route to the enemy. As a gallant offering, Roland agrees to lead the rear guard of Charlemagne's army. At Roncesvalles Pass, the rear guard falls behind, allowing the pagan forces to ambush Roland's. They are immediately outnumbered, prompting Roland's fellow soldier, Oliver, to insist on calling for backup with his horn. Roland stubbornly refuses, overestimating his fighting potential. Despite their prowess, the rear guard falls to the Saracens. With no hope of victory. Too little too late, Roland takes his elephant horn and sounds it with so much force, it bursts his temples. Responding to the call, Charlemagne's main army returns, only to find an ensemble of Frankish corpses, including Roland and Astolfo, with the Saracens on the run.
Yeah, Astolfo.
Charlemagne chases the surviving enemies all the way to the
like
river
the first year that
Ebro,
Astolfo was in,
into the rapids,
where I got into
they
the Fate
drown.
Parker.
The Frankish army makes camp at Roncesvalles Pass to mourn and bury their dead. Here, they are met by the Emir of Babylon, Baligand, and his own massive army, gathered exclusively to fight the Franks. With their mourning interrupted, Charlemagne's army must fight a new foe. They hold their ground at the pass, and Charlemagne slays Baligand, scattering the pagan army. Saragossa, whose leader betrayed the Franks, now stands unprotected. To avenge their fallen brethren, Charlemagne's army storms the city, taking it along with Marcia's wife. Victorious, they return to their French capital, Aix. Ganelon, whose betrayal caused the incident, is found out. While he is imprisoned, awaiting trial, he attempts to justify his betrayal by citing his suspicions of Roland. Charlemagne appoints a council of barons to decide Ganelon's fate, and at first, they find merit in his testimony. That is, until one of the barons, Thierry, points out that at the time, Roland was in the service of Charlemagne, making Ganelon's retaliation a crime against the Emperor. In a non-judicial manner, Ganelon's friend and confidant, Pinabel, challenges Thierry to a duel to the death. Charlemagne agrees, believing that God will ensure the correct man wins. Sure enough, Thierry, despite being weaker than his opponents, is able to kill him with the help of divine intervention. Thus, Ganelon's fate is decided. His limbs are tied to separate horses, who all gallop away in opposing directions, tearing his body apart. As further penance, three of Ganelon's relatives are taken to the gallows and hanged. This legend discredits the Basques, placing unsubstantiated blame on Ganelon and the Saracen traders. In contrast, another legend characterizes Charlemagne's compassion. An angel wakes him from his slumber, advising him to steal something, a common corrupt occurrence for knights. While not prone to such behavior, he nonetheless agrees, suspecting there to be a greater meaning behind
This
his
is really
command.
interesting, though. I'm like a
Along the
tale.
way, he is challenged to a duel against a knight on horseback, and wins by throwing him from the steed. The knight is revealed to be Elbegast, a notorious thief. Rather than punish the thief, Charlemagne instead recruits him in his quest to steal. The two infiltrate the castle of one of his advisors, and while hiding in the bedroom, they overhear the advisor boasting to his wife about a plan to assassinate the king. Thus, Charlemagne reasons this to be the purpose of the angel's command, and leaves the castle with a worthless item in tow. Once more, instead
Why would they
of
have a worthless
executing
item,
his
though? Why would it
conspirators,
be
Charlemagne offers them pardon in
no,
exchange for their sworn loyalty. Elbegast, inspired by the king's kindness, forsakes his life of crime to serve him. On a separate account, Charlemagne playfully seeks validation, asking his wife whom she finds to be the most handsome king in the world. Defying expectations, she names Emperor Hugo of Byzantine. Hoping to prove himself the better man, Charlemagne disguises this personal matter as a pilgrimage, gathering his 12 paladins to seek out Jerusalem. There, the patriarch offers them relics and praise, but the true purpose of their expedition is on their return journey, when they stop at the lavish city of Constantinople. Hugo,
Back so late.
the glorious and handsome king, meets them while standing atop a golden plow. He welcomes Charlemagne and his paladins to the palace, and assigns them to a spectacular room. Sharing an abundant drink, the inebriated paladins jokingly boast incredible feats, such as Oliver being able to bed Hugo's daughter 100-fold in a single night. Similarly, Turpan brags of being able to juggle while simultaneously standing on 2 sprinting horses. One of Hugo's spies overhears this ridiculousness, and the paladins are confronted the next morning. Not wanting to admit to their lies, they pray to the relics they received from Jerusalem, which calls forth an angel who is willing to help. Charlemagne thus refuses to back down, claiming his paladins can indeed accomplish all that they declared. To resolve Hugo's reasonable skepticism, the paladins rely on divine intervention to put actions to their words. Hugo is taken aback, vowing to serve Charlemagne. Triumphantly, Charlemagne returns home and forgives his wife for her lack of piety, encouraged to be more worthy of her affections. While there are major inconsistencies between the legends of Charlemagne and his historical accounts as Charles the Great, both he and his legends are recorded into the Throne of Heroes and the Mooncell Automaton respectively. Between them, however, is an undeniably unified experience. Charlemagne, in his youth, comes across the ruins of Sephar, the White Titan. By making contact with the ruins, he sees a vision of the world's destruction. Unwilling to accept such a fate, he gains the courage and motivation he needs to set out on unifying Europe. Following the decline of the Age of Gods, mankind ultimately finds refuge from a decrepit Earth by living in the Mooncell via Spiritron technology. After chaos in the Mooncell Holy Grail Wars, the Mooncell's inhabitable environment, the serial phantasm, Seraph, finds relative peace under the winning master, Hakuno Kishinami. However, this peace is interrupted when the Mooncell
Oh, he looks cool in that gold armor.
summons
He looks cool.
Charlemagne
I like
into
that.
split saint crafts, one for his legend and the other for his historical self, Karl der Grobe. Charles the Great is a heroic spirit who takes after Charlemagne in his later years and embodies all the
That's what that is in
characteristics
the gold armor?
associated with his historical depiction. Here, He is charismatic in his pursuit of becoming a supreme ruler, one whose love for humanity is second only to God. He is ruthless in combat and calm as a tactician. In battle, he fights with Joyeuse, a serrated greatsword, claimed to be forged with the Lance of Longinus in its pommel. It is attributed to the king in both history and legend as a blade that changes color 30 times per day. Karl, based in history rather than fantasy, is unable to use its full powers. Instead, his authority, or auctoritas, manifests as gauntlets and artillery. He establishes his domain through Carolus Patricius, a noble phantasm that manifests St. Metropolita as a flying castle fortress equipped with long-range cannons. The castle's structure also makes up Karl's armor, which can transform him into a humanoid mech through the noble phantasm Carolus Patricius Auctoritas. In opposition, the legendary Charlemagne takes the appearance of himself in his youth. Thus, he doesn't find himself particularly suitable to be a king. He judges his own actions on whether he finds them cool or uncool. Despite this, Astolfo reveres him as a benevolent leader who weeps and laughs with his people, helping those in need. As a heroic spirit, he possesses the Holy Knight Emperor skill, which allows him to wield the various weapons used by his paladins. These include a halberd, mace, Astolfo's Trap of Argalia, and winged javelins he uses to fire at his opponents. Of course, his main weapon is also the Holy Sword Joyeuse, in the form of a
that's the weapon.
which activates his noble
that long sword.
phantasm, Joyeuse Ordre, exemplify the heroic king, 12 radiant swords that travel the wide world. This noble phantasm is an all-out assault, implementing all of the
12
aforementioned
sword that
weapons,
launches beams.
beams
I
at his
don't know,
enemies.
it's pretty cool.
For use in conquering territories, he too has a floating fortress, Charles Patricius, our fleeting glory. At the very core of Karl's motivation is the monolith he had touched inside Sephar's ruins. Ever since, he had dedicated himself to uniting humanity under one rule as his form of peace and protection. Even in the moon cell, this monolith can be found on his floating fortress, giving him a unique power known as Oracle, blue particles that both enslave and assimilate others to his will. With it, he plans on assimilating all of Seraph, including Hakuno and her allied servants.
Oh, so she
forcing
was in
them
this
beyond
fate
their will.
too. Okay, the
Tragically,
red
should this
saber.
process be conducted improperly, it
Yeah,
will
that saber.
result in the destruction of 40% of Seraph, a sacrifice he is willing to make to ensure his vision of peace. Two heroes, Skahak and Gilles de Rais, join him of their own volition, while others, such as Karna, are oracleized forcibly. Altera, Sephar's spiritual core, feels responsible for Karl's ambition and stays near him out of concern. She knows what he's doing is wrong, but is unable to oppose him, as she has yet to mature into her warrior form. Charlemagne, on the other hand, finds himself allying with Hakuno to defeat his other self, offering his own floating fortress as a headquarters in their campaign. As she reaches maturity, Altera struggles with her feelings, both admiring and conflicting against Karl's plan. She fights Hakuno, but realizes after her defeat that she should instead be freeing Karl from his pain. Despite their brief contact through the monolith, Altera feels that both Karl and Charlemagne are like family to her, stating that defeating Karl is now her only choice to help them. Ultimately, Hakuno, Charlemagne, and Altera reach Karl's throne room. They intend to fight, even though both Charlemagne and Altera have been weakened by previous encounters. Taking the brunt of their struggle, Charlemagne proceeds to his final battle, while Altera rests and observes. Though it costs him his life, Charlemagne and his allies destroy Karl's fortress armor, causing Carolus Patricius to collapse. In their last moments, Altera bids farewell to both Charlemagnes, admitting that the accident that split them will likely never happen again. In their home of Mare Arum, Altera reflects on the incident along with Hakuno. She reveals how Hakuno can use the regalia to summon attack programs containing each of the Charlemagne's respective memories. If these programs continue to fight, they may eventually be recorded by the Moon Cell's automaton as separate heroic spirits. In the end, despite having dangerously lofty ambitions, Charlemagne's desire for a peaceful world resonates with
Alright, well, that's the end of that one. Fate Lore, the Tale of Charlemagne, FateExtella Link. That is a... So, Astolfo's in there. That red saber looking chick was in there. I didn't even know that. I haven't even watched this one. I don't know. I think this is another series I haven't even watched. But this is... Dang, that's... So he ends up getting killed, basically, against himself. Well, alternate version of himself, I guess you can say. Of like what he'll be like in the future. It's crazy. This video is pretty good from Otaku Dekun. Like I say, first link being streamed right down below to go and follow. Like I say, first link being streamed right down below. But yeah, that's crazy. That's dang, man. He goes from inheriting the throne from his dad when he passes to becoming Roman emperor. Then, well, it said he died, but then like he said like he got reincarnated or something. Being with his 18. It did. That's something. I'm joining up 18 children. 18. Anyway, like, share, subscribe on the video. When I come out. Peace.